In this episode of Discovering Wine Country, we take you to the California coast and Santa Barbara. While the beach and the city are beautiful, we will take you beyond the wine country that sits a little further inland. There are so many rabbit holes here, like the geography of the region, the 7 different AVAs, and all the places to taste wine and eat. We will also do a deep dive into Chardonnay. You might be surprised to find that this is not the love it or hate it grape that you thought it was. So put in your shades. It's time to visit Santa Barbara. The Santa Barbara wine region sits in LA's backyard. Less than 2 hours north of LA, this region is diverse in its wines. Much of this has to do with geography. 20 million years ago, this land was under the ocean. The tectonic plates moved, and the mountains were shoved up out of the ocean in a north-south direction, causing the mountain ranges that we're familiar with in California. Over the next 12 million years, the mountains in Santa Barbara broke loose from the plate and began their gradual clockwise turn, bringing the mountain ranges here to an east-west orientation. They are continuing their move today. This east-west orientation of valleys allows the marine influence to flow into the region. The temperature from the west, near the coast, to the east, inland in Happy Canyon, increases by 1 degree per mile. As a result, there are many varieties that grow here, over 70, according to the Santa Barbara Vintners Association. There are 7 AVAs, American viticultural areas, in Santa Barbara. The Santa Ynez Valley AVA covers much of the southern portion of the wine region. It has 4 nested AVAs. The Santa Rita Hills AVA sits closest to the coast. As you move further east, you find the Ballard Canyon AVA, which sits in a smaller north-south valley. On the eastern border of Ballard Canyon, you will find the Los Olivos AVA, which is the most recently approved of the sub-AVAs. Happy Canyon sits the furthest east of these nested AVAs and is the warmest region. North of the Santa Ynez Valley, you will find the Alisos Canyon AVA. This AVA runs from the 101 east towards Fox and Canyon Road. This east-west valley pulls in marine winds from the Pacific Ocean, which is just 20 miles away. More and more winemakers have been pulling fruit from this region. This is part of the larger Los Alamos region, which is not yet its own AVA. North of Alisos Canyon, you come to the Santa Maria Valley AVA. This was the 2nd AVA in the state of California and the 3rd in the U.S. back in 1981. This is a beautiful part of California, and the city of Santa Barbara, which sits outside of the wine region, is the gateway. Here you can enjoy the beach, stroll on Stearns Wharf, enjoy the elegant beachside resorts and wine tasting rooms, or stroll State Street for shops, restaurants, and more tasting rooms. The Funk Zone is an area that sits between the ocean and Highway 101, filled with boutiques, shops, and tasting rooms that are a bit funkier than what you might find further up State Street. Here you find old surf shops and warehouses turned into tasting rooms and restaurants. Walls are covered with murals of graffiti. For a fun and funky stop near the beach, head to Municipal Winemakers. Winemaker Dave Potter created this tasting room to get wine to the people. The back wall is stacked with filing cabinets where they store glasses and other things. And they have an outdoor patio on the street with picnic tables where you can taste and bring your own lunch if you like. If you want to learn a bit more about Santa Barbara and its many wines before you head inland to wine country, the Valley Project is the place to stop. This tasting room has a huge elk pen chalkboard mural mapping out the wine regions and the influences in the Santa Barbara region. Stroll the streets and you will run into wineries like J. Wilkes, Marjoram, Riverbench, and more. Out on Stearns Wharf, you will find the Deep Sea Tasting Room, where you can sit overlooking the water and enjoy a tasting. Further into Santa Barbara, in the beautiful Presidio neighborhood, you will find the legendary Au Bon Clement and other winery tasting rooms like Brissini and Jamie Sloan. You can do all this on foot and burn some easy calories, then find a great restaurant, which is not hard here, and enjoy dinner. While the city of Santa Barbara has many tasting rooms in walking distance, if you are really up for a wine tasting walk, the city of Los Olivos has you covered. With 25 tasting rooms within a 3-block walk, plus restaurants and shops, this little town is a great place to spend a day or two. The flagpole is the center of this community, and it is a community. Locals all know each other here. You can grab a sandwich at Panino and eat it while you do a tasting on the patio in front of the Los Olivos General Store with Larner Wines. On Alamo Pintado Avenue, you will find Tercero, where winemaker Larry Tercero might be pouring, as well as Dragonet Cellars. Samsera by Chad Melville and Stolpman are across the street. Past the flagpole on the other end of Alamo Pintado, you can stop for an olive oil tasting at Olive Hill Farm, or taste wines at Barberi and Kemp Wines. Then stop by Brewer Clifton, where the 2020 Wine Enthusiast Winemaker of the Year, Greg Brewer, makes wines. Head up Grand Avenue to Sarluce & Sons. If it's the weekend, they will have cupcake pairings. Then, if things are winding down and tasting rooms are closing, head to Carhart Family Wines. They have a beautiful back patio where you can relax and wind down before heading to dinner. There are a couple of great places for dinner, but I will recommend the Los Olivos Wine Merchant and Cafe. They carry a number of local wines in their shop and on their wine list. And the food is fresh from local farms. A drive through Ballard Canyon takes some time. The 7.2 miles of curvy roads can be done in about 16 minutes, but the twists and turns on this one-lane road, not to mention the scenery, will make you want to take it slower. As you drive north through the valley, you pass the vineyards of Larner, Stolpman, and Beckman's Purismo Mountain Vineyard. It is a beautiful region, and the climate here makes it perfect for Rhone varieties like Grenache, Syrah, Roussanne, and Viognier. Overwhelmingly, the valley has been found perfect for Syrah, and more than 50% of the grapes planted here are Syrah. You will not, however, find tasting rooms here. With the exception of Roussac, there are no tasting rooms in Ballard Canyon. And the beautiful Windmill Ranch vineyard of Sarluce & Sons. Some of the wineries do have opportunities for estate tours if you contact them in advance. Inland, to the east in the Santa Barbara region, you will find Happy Canyon, Of the AVAs in the San Ynez Valley, this is the furthest inland and has the warmest climate, so late ripening grapes thrive here. You will find plenty of Bordeaux varieties growing here, including Cabernet Sauvignon, Petit Verdot, and Sauvignon Blanc. This is another region without many tasting rooms. Most of the wineries in Happy Canyon have tasting rooms elsewhere. With some, you can request a vineyard experience, making special reservations in advance. Regardless, this area is beautiful, dotted with horse farms, longhorn cattle, and amazing vistas. Happy Canyon Vineyard is out here, and they frequently hold polo matches on their Piocho Ranch location. Grassini is also in Happy Canyon, and you can book vineyard tours in advance with them. The Santa Maria Valley is well known for its Pinot Noir, especially from the rightfully revered vineyard of Bien Nacido. This most northern region in Santa Barbara has the Vandenberg fog drifting in daily, making it a perfect place to grow Pinot Noir, Chardonnay, and cool climate Syrah. A drive up Foxen Canyon Road is a must. Here you will find some of the region's legendary wineries and vineyards, including Zaca Mesa, Bess Parker, Foxen, and Riverbench. As you head towards Santa Maria, Presqu'île sits up on a hill with views of the ocean on a clear day. Originally, the wine ghetto began when in 1998, Rick Longoria of Longoria Wines built his winery in an industrial building in Lompoc. It was a good idea, and it stuck. Others joined him, like Kathy Josephs with Fiddlehead Cellars, Norm Yost of Flying Goat Cellars, Santi with Rajat Par and Sashi Moorman, and Pedrassi that does wine and bread. So much for a ghetto. There's some heavy hitters here. There are a few additional wineries with tasting rooms further into Lompoc. Including the Brewer Clifton Winery. Spend a couple hours exploring this unique wine tasting area. Los Alamos sits across the 101 from the Alisos Canyon AVA. This area is filled with vineyards and fields of flowers. The town of Los Alamos sits here with B&Bs, tasting rooms, and restaurants. The new restaurant, Belle's, has garnered awards for its French cafe food. I can recommend Plenty on Belle for a great lunch with terrific local wine pairings. There are also boutique motels. It is a perfect place to spend a weekend afternoon. There is more than just wine here. Sonia Majeski, winemaker and owner of Casa du Metz, also has Bobby's Beer Emporium with food by Dim Sama. On the west end of Bell Street, you will find Full of Life Flatbread, which is often bustling and filled with local winemakers. Chardonnay. This can be a love it or hate it grape for many people, but you might be surprised to learn that it is probably less about the grape and more about the winemaking technique. Chardonnay is a non-aromatic grape. It is grown all over the globe to very different results. Grow it in a warm climate, and you get rich tropical fruit notes. In cool climates, you get bright citrus and lemon and green fruit notes. Beyond that, there are winemaking techniques that affect the wine. Those rich, buttery Chardonnays that you either love or hate, this butteriness can come from malolactic fermentation, which is when the tart malic acid, think of the flavors of an unripe green apple, is converted to lactic acid, which is the softer acid found in milk. A byproduct of this conversion is the compound diacetyl, which has a buttery note. It is, in fact, added to margarine to give it that buttery flavor. This malolactic conversion also gives the wine a creamier texture. Again, think lactic, like milk. On top of that, winemakers often put Chardonnay in oak barrels. You will hear a Chardonnay referred to as oaked or unoaked. This time in oak barrels will enhance the buttery notes and add notes of toast, spice, and vanilla, and further soften the wine's texture. On the other hand, winemakers can stop the malolactic fermentation and keep the wine in stainless steel. This keeps the wine more acidic and sharper. I mentioned that Chardonnay is grown around the globe. Perhaps the most famous spot for Chardonnay is Chablis in France. Chablis is part of Burgundy, although if you look at a map, you might find that surprising. It sits 80 miles northwest of the rest of Burgundy, and is actually closer to Champagne than Burgundy. In Chablis, one grape rules them all, and that grape is Chardonnay. In fact, it is the only permitted grape in the region. This region has cool summers and cold winters, much like Champagne, but being further south and planted on south-facing slopes, it's protected from the north winds and gets more sun exposure than they do in Champagne, allowing for better ripening. It is perhaps best known for its Kimmeridgian soils. The south-facing slopes are on an outcrop of Kimmeridgian marl, which provides great mineral nutrients for these grapes. The Kimmeridgian limestone here dates from 150 million years ago, when this was a seabed. Oyster shells are abundant in the soil. The Chardonnay here is lean, with a unique flinty minerality. So as you can see, Chardonnay is a bit of a chameleon and can dress up in different ways. If you want to pair with roast chicken or salmon, choose an oak Chardonnay with some buttery notes. With shellfish or sushi, head for an unoaked Chardonnay, preferably from a cool climate. The Santa Rita Hills AVA stretches closest to the coast, almost reaching Lompoc. Head west on the Santa Rosa Road, and you will pass by some of the most famous vineyards in the region, including Sanford and Benedict, La Rinconada, Fiddlesticks, El Jabali, Fe Ciega, and Sea Smoke. Richard Sanford combed this area, looking for the perfect place to plant a vineyard. In 1970, he and Michael Benedict found the place that would become Sanford and Benedict Vineyard. The Pinot here was good, and soon others followed. The region is now home to over 59 vineyards. The Santa Rita Hills AVA is home to some of the finest Chardonnay in California, while still being best known for its Pinot Noir. If you take Highway 246 towards Lompoc, you will pass wineries like Babcock and Melville. The Clopepe vineyard is here, and I have fond memories of picking Pinot Noir there some years ago. we covered quite a bit of territory here. Most of this was scenic views of the vineyard to give you a view of where this wine is made. Because after all, most great wine is the result of great farming. You can find all of this and more on crushgrapechronicles.com, with more in-depth articles and videos on some of the winemakers and wineries we have spoken to over the years. Stay tuned for more on Santa Barbara. It's a region we love, and you will too. Where should you stay while visiting Santa Barbara? Well, we often stay in Solvang. This quaint, lovely, Danish-inspired town is centrally located, where you can shop, eat, and wind down after a great day of wine tasting. We will delve deeper into Solvang in a later video, with more places to stay while discovering wine country in Santa Barbara County. And there is so much more to explore of Santa Barbara. We spent quite a bit of time in the area a few years back. When we visited recently, we found new vineyards and wineries, and much more that we want to dig into. You can expect to see more as we continue to return. On our next episode of Discovering Wine Country, we head north to Washington's Yakima Valley. Are you ready to continue discovering wine country? Follow us on social media for all the juicy bits. We are on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Discover Wine CGC. If you're headed to wine country and want to share the experience, join our Facebook group, Discovering Wine Country, where writers and content creators are sharing what they are discovering in wine country around the globe. For even more great content, visit our sister site, Crushed Grape Chronicles.